activating your personal blueprint. So activating your personal blueprint. I'm a great believer that we all have this unique blueprint that sits there deep within inside of us. We can kind of call that a purpose. And we get this sense of, throughout our lives, we get a sense of kind of stumbling across it. It's like, it's kind of this calling, this kind of magnetic energy that pulls us into alignment, pulling us into a unique personal blueprint or a purpose. You get that sense of calling. You can kind of feel it gravitationally pulling us into what could be called even our destiny. I'm a great believer that we all have that unique blueprint that sits there deep within inside of us, that in a way is co-creating the reality around us. Quite often what we kind of do is we kind of touch it and then we kind of move away from it. Or another way to put it is we touch it and we run away from it. There's kind of this whole sense that it's something greater than ourselves. And I think quite often that scares so many of us. And kind of what we need to try to do is almost get out of the way of ourselves, to kind of trust a deep self, a deep knowing, which I believe has this inner compass. I kind of talk about that often. Those of you that watch my videos, you'll know that I talk about this inner compass, this kind of barometer that is guiding us to help us unfold and unravel that personal blueprint. Which quite often when we start to unravel it and we start to unfold it and we start to touch it, it often, leads to service. And I kind of, feel very passionate about service because I believe that personal blueprint and service come in partnership. They come together. And when you come from a place of service, so much changes within your life. You stop trying, you just are. You get up in the morning and you do what you do because this is what you do. This is what you're designed to do. You just become, it's like a unique expression of self, and you kind of just fall into that. And one of the things that really happens as you begin to kind of fall into that kind of space is that you rise above lack. Okay, you kind of get this sense of rising above lack, you rise above need. And then what kind of tends to happen is that you become magnetized. The whole thing about that kind of energy and being of service and unlocking your unique individual blueprint is that quite often that service that follows perpetuates goodness for everybody around you. It becomes a win-win for you, win-win for everyone around you. And not only do you raise up, but you raise up everyone around you, regardless of gain. And this is the key. You do it regardless of gain. You do it because it's an expression of you. So when you raise someone up, you're doing it because this is what you're designed to do in your own unique flavor, in your own unique blueprint. So you kind of rise them up because this is what you're designed to do. So that has a perpetual energy to it. You can probably feel that as I'm talking about it, has this kind of perpetual energy that starts to gather. And what that does is absolutely starts to magnetize. You kind of magnetize joy, you magnetize wealth, and it matches, not the other way around. If you kind of look at the law of attraction, and I'm going to point in the direction of a lot of the books out there that talk about manifestation, co-creation, law of attraction, quite often there is an absolute pitfall and there's a black hole in there. What they don't talk about and what they don't kind of teach is that quite often that's coming from a false or a forced based energy. Let me explain that for a moment for you. You know, you buy the book, you read through the book, and the book says to you, every day when you get up in the morning, you've got to think positively. You've got to think positively. There you go, straight away. There's the kind of beginnings of that pitfall, is that you've got to. Okay, so what that is you're sitting there shoulding yourself, should into positivity. Okay, and you're forcing it rather than it naturally being. And I'll tell you why that becomes a pitfall is because you wake up in the morning and you motivate yourself to be positive. And we then believe reading through the New Age jargon, New Age books, Law of Attraction, and so for you kind of are forcing that. And what tends to happen is that it's got an undercurrent underneath it and behind it, which is actually the subconscious. So what you're doing is I'm forcing myself to be positive, because if I force myself to be positive, positive things are going to happen to me. But the undercurrent in there, the subconscious is running another script saying, I don't bloody believe this. I'm not feeling positive. This is all wrong. And that's what happens. So it kind of falls flat on its face. It kind of has that pitfall. And then what you do is you go, right, okay, try. You begin to tap into it some days. You know, you get these days where you kind of feel that you're in the flow. You feel that you've got the positivity. Great things start to appear, and then it kind of falls flat on its face. It's because the subconscious is not in alignment with the conscious mind. So the conscious is projecting, I'm going to be positive. The subconscious is going, good luck with that because I'm not feeling it, and it falls flat on its face. What happens over time is you then say to yourself, this isn't working. I'm going to go and buy another New Age book. I'm going to buy another Law of Attraction book, only to read through it, and there's nothing different in there. But you're searching for the secret ingredient, because you know all the time you know that it must be there, so you go and buy another lot of books. All along you're still not discovering it, and all the time these authors are making huge vast amounts of money selling you the next idea, the next concept, the next secret, and there you are hunting it out. And that's the thing, is the subconscious and the conscious need to match, and that's one of the reasons why it falls flat on its face. When you kind of start to get that sense of matching, so you get that kind of sense of matching, that kind of joy and that kind of wealth begins to appear within your life. And at that point, you kind of no longer work for the money. You work to be of service. You work to make a difference, because it's who you are and what you're designed to do. You can't stop it at that point. It has a huge amount of momentum, has a huge amount of traction. Now, the Spiritual Research Center, I've done a lot of research on mapping consciousness, and they talk about fear, force, and force-based energies, and there's a kind of scale, if you like, of human consciousness. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put the photo of that up on my Facebook page with this video, so that you can kind of have a look at that, and you'll start to see the scale there. And you've got kind of those lower energies, which is force-based energies, force-based energies, and those fear-based energies. And that's what I'm talking about there with the subconscious. You're there sitting, meditating, vision board, and projecting, but all along you've got the script. It's kind of subconscious is actually can be the enemy within. It can sabotage you. But once you kind of move up that scale, which, you know, ultimately there is no shortcut. There's no secret ingredient. There's no fast tracking. There's no ordering it off of eBay. It absolutely is a process of inner work. The inner begins to change the outer. but it matches, and that's why, okay, an example of this is I had a client say to me the other day, so, I want to find my perfect partner, I want to find the one. And I sat there and I was like thinking about the work that I'm sharing with you now, and I was sitting there thinking, I went, okay, I think this is it. Why is it that when you're in love, okay, so when you're really, really in love with somebody and you're in love, or you're in love with life even, but when you're in love, why is it that everybody then falls in love with you? Why is it, why is that everyone then falls in love with you? Because there's kind of this ingredient, isn't there? There's kind of this energy to that. It's kind of like a charisma. What it is magnetizing. You're in love, you're open, you're radiant, you've got that charisma. And what you're actually doing is magnetizing that energy because you are love. You're absolutely radiating that vibration, that energy of love, and then everybody falls in love with you. Of course, you're taken, you're unavailable. And then when you're not in love, you can go looking for love and you never find it. It's the same idea. It's that matching. This is what we're talking about. So to kind of start to begin to activate your blueprint, you kind of move up that scale. Being in love is a good example of that. You really do magnetize it, is what we're talking about. That magnetism is what draws your blueprint and everything into your world to kind of enable that blueprint and enable that service. And as I say to you, normally when you're of service, it's a kind of perpetual upward cycle. All that kind of lack, all that fear, all that need, all that kind of control, all that ego begins to or is dissolving a script that's running. So, you could have someone saying, well, I'm of service, but they're in a state underneath within the subconscious of need or fear, and that will kind of manifest and magnetize. Now, I kind of spent a few days with a motor here that doesn't feel right, or you're not sure. What it is the loveliness, the smiling and the good is all kind of be projected from the surface, but underneath the baseline energy, the subconscious, is radiating a completely different story. And that's why when you approach that person, they seem really lovely, but then you get a little bit closer and you're like, well, I don't know, it's something I'm not sure about. Hear so many people say that. They seem okay, but there's something I'm not sure about. Trust that, because what you're doing is you're picking up on the subconscious script that's running in there. There's a few thoughts, guys, about activating your blueprint and being of service. Look out for the picture and the photo. That'll give you the scale. Website